Hello everyone, welcome to a Psalm for today, your reassuring voice that Jesus is Lord. You probably hear the thunder rolling in the distance. We had a rainstorm pass through. It's still all wet and a few raindrops. I'm tucked in here under the awning of our roof in the Backyard Ministry Recovery Center. Sorry about last week. I traveled to Anchorage and had every intention of doing Psalms for today each night, but I was so blessed to have so many people to talk to, especially my kids and grandkids and a bunch of good friends. So many I couldn't get to. I tell you, I love all my buddies in Alaska, all of my sisters. Apologize. Next trip, keep trying to get to hang out with y'all and reconnect. See that lightning there? That was nice. I started Monday of last week, Psalms for those times when we feel regret, but I didn't get to carry that through, and so I will continue today if you don't mind. Psalms for times of feeling regret. Research shows 72% of people feel regret related to their ideal self as opposed to their ought self. Meaning they regret not taking action that leads them to become the person they dream of being, or they regret actions that hinder them from becoming the person, their ideal self. They, for example, when asked to name their single biggest life regret, 76% of participants cite an action not taken that would have helped them realize their ideal self, to become the person that they consider to be their best them. We've heard a book titled Your Best Life Now. That people regret maybe not taking steps to become not necessarily their best life, but to become the best person. And I know for me, I feel that one of the steps for me to be my ideal self is to continue to work on trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I've had so many people tell me I have no faith. I've had people tell me that it's demon possession. I've had people tell me that a few healthy relationships will solve that. You know, I've had all kinds of voices speak into my life. But I decided one day, walking on the beach in California when it was so beautiful. Oh, man, it was beautiful. But my brain was off somewhere else fighting another battle. And there was no battle. It was a beautiful beach. And I just leaned up against a palm tree and said, I'm not going to live this way the rest of my life. And so I decided to take action. If I hadn't have decided, I would be part of that 76% that regret not taking an action to help me realize my ideal self. And then there are the actions that we take that are against our ideal self. So the first group is actions we didn't take. Woo, love that lightning. There's a little actions that we did not take. Second are the actions that we did take that hindered us from becoming our ideal self. Now, this ideal self, there are 11 meta-analysis of regret studies. So they did a meta-analysis of regret studies, and the top 6 biggest regrets in life in this particular study was the regret of not getting the education that they had wished their ideal self would have had, not having the career they think their ideal self could have had, the romance, the parenting, their self, and leisure. So education, career, romance, parenting, self, and leisure are the biggest regrets according to this meta-analysis. About 90% of adults have deep or existential regrets about their lives. So existential meaning of sorts, how they exist. There are 90% of adults have deep, okay, regrets. Existential means that it causes them to doubt, as it were, their own components of their existence. And the more they dwell on regret, the worse their quality of life tends to become. So I've made an acrostic with the word regret, and I will work through in the next several days. The R in regret in my study on a psalm for today is ruminate. Ruminate. To ruminate is to turn over and over and over in the mind. The definition of ruminate, one of the definitions of ruminate, is to turn over and over and over again in the mind. I've had opportunities in my life to ruminate. Sometimes it's a rumination of positive, to turn over and over and over again a beautiful sunset, to turn over and over and over again in my mind a beautiful friendship or a beautiful moment. But sometimes rumination is a negative experience. It's the turning over and over and over again. I wish I had, or I wish I hadn't. And so I've had more of my share of I wish I hadn't than I wish I had. Coming back from Anchorage reminded me how much I love pastoring Malden Community Assembly. I love the work God has done through the people of MCA, the international relationships, the global ministry network, the thousands of people involved. I absolutely love it. Yet, I knew that if I were going to be my ideal self in this season of my life, remember how the eagle kicks the baby eagle out of the nest so the baby learns to fly? I kicked myself out of the MCA nest, knowing that I needed to learn to fly on the next curve of my life. Yes, it's been joyful. I mean, it's going so well. At the same time, it's been emotional. And so to turn that over and over again in the mind is rumination. Now, regret has a cousin. The cousin of regret is remorse. And regret is something that let's see, how can I say that? When you have remorse, it's your fault. You have a feeling that I had responsibility for this and I made a bad choice, or I made no choice. I have remorse. Regret is something sort of out of our control, something that is beyond our control. So regret, remorse, and ruminate can all be this first R. Ruminate. Now this is a psalm for today, so let's go to Psalm 6. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, or discipline me in your wrath. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am faint. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in anguish. My soul is in deep anguish. How long, Lord? How long? Can you hear that rumination there? Oh, over and over again, Lord. My bones are in agony. My soul is in deep anguish. How long, Lord? How long? Psalm 6, 1-3 shows the psalmist in rumination. In Psalm 6, verse 6, listen to this kind of rumination. I am worn out from my groaning. All night long I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. Psalm 6:6. Notice the rumination. I'm worn out from groaning. Over and over again, groaning. All night long, this rumination. Psalm 94:19. When anxiety was great within me. Feel that the rumination, that anxiety was great within me. The Bible also addresses the maybe some psalms to guide us in what to do in moments of rumination. It says in Psalm 6 that I mentioned as we opened, we ask God not to discipline us in his wrath, but for him to have mercy on us. Lord, have mercy on me in this season of rumination. I ask you to help me as I ruminate. Notice it says, when anxiety was great within me, Psalm 94:19, your consolation brought me joy. Lord, as I am experiencing rumination, I ask that you would console me. I ask that you're not just console me, but bring me joy. I ask that your consolation bring me joy. And then Psalm 143:5. I remember the days of long ago. He's remembering, ruminating. I meditate on all your works and consider what your hands have done. When your brain and your existence wants to ruminate about the regrets, remember what God has done, all of his works, and consider all that his hands have done throughout all of history. I wish lightning would go off right now, because God made that space energy that hits the clouds, the electrons, and lightens up the sky. He made the sun. How big is God? How big and vast his wide domain. He is an incredible God, and he has done great things. So to address the R of regret, to address ruminate, we ask God not to rebuke us in his anger, to have mercy on us. We ask him to bring consolation with great joy and help us to meditate on all his works and consider what his hands have done. May God bless you as you turn off the regret today, as you turn off the rumination today, and you rejoice in the word and the ways and the purpose